Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the North American ESL Go4 Cup number 2. My name is Blue, joined today by the Lord Helseth, and we are heading into our featured round of 8 game for the day, which is going to be between the Olrun and Kizos Happy Hour versus, it's going to be Radioactive will be the team they're taking on. Olrun and Kizos Happy Hour is a team that kind of formed up in recent weeks. I think they're going to be a team we'll be seeing quite a bit in these Go4 Cups, possibly with a fluctuated roster, of course. Radioactive, however, is a little bit more stable. They have been around for a few weeks and are going to be attempting to take this week's cup once again. So without any further delay, guys, we're going to jump into the map and take a quick look at the builds. Helseth, take us away.
Take us away. How about this? You give the builds, and I'll just give an overview of them later. How about that?
Oh,
that
okay.
sounds good.
I do have to fix something very fast. Hold on one
second. Wait. Blue. You kind of ruined it.
Yes?
You kind of ruined it.
What did I ruin?
Alright. I want you to do me a favor, Blue. Can you do me a favor?
Yes.
Alright, this is for the stream. Now, I want you to go to the cameras real quick.
Okay, we're there.
Now, these games are going to be nuts. Alright, we're rocking. Let's go. Just go to the game. Go to the game.
Boo. Anyway, we're in the game now, guys. What?
I didn't know it was good. Alright, let's go.
Alright, guys, we're going to take a quick look at the builds, specifically over here on the red side. Starting out with Radioactive, we got Overpowered Necro playing on a 62006 Power Necromancer comp with Axe, Offhand Warhorn, and Dagger in the main set, with Zerker's Amulet Entrance in the pack. Sir Crisis is going to be running on a Bunker Warrior with Mercy Runes here, Sword with an Offhand Warhorn, and Hammer in the main set, and the traits, once again, are 00644. Raw Face, I believe, is going to be playing another Power Necromancer, 62006, same exact build as OPP, so don't really, or OPN rather, so don't really need to go over that. We got, actually, this is Google here, or I'm trying to remember, he has many names. We'll just call him Google. Google here playing a Scepter Focus Elementalist as well with 56201. Interesting trait split there, but it is going to be one of those very bursty Elementalists. And last but not least will be the Guardian playing on a Ranger here with a 02660 Condi Ranger build. Also, thoughts on this team's comp?
I'm sorry, my eyes are glued to the fact that there are 2 Power Necros with Lich on the red team.
This is one of the signature things with their composition.
There's 2 Liches. I'm terrified. Alright, what do they have to counter this? Let's just counter this. Nothing else than counter this. Let's see here. Get Reflect, all of you. Get Reflect. We need more Reflect. Honestly, on a serious note, I'd say that the blue team is the more balanced composition. And when I say balanced, I don't mean, more. I mean that they're better at more things. You know, they have more mobility. They have better 1v1ers. And in general, they have a better team fight. But, you know, this double Power Necro, like, this is very unpredictable, you know? There's so much that can happen here. This Condi Ranger is a build that I really like. It's one of the best duelists in the game, if not the best duelist. So it'll be very interesting to see how these comps clash. Like, it depends on how the Liches are dealt with. Because Lich is, you know, a team fight winning build, team fight winning skill, you know? It can just instantly end a team fight. So it has to be dealt with properly. Let's see, they have a rifle NG, right? So you use a thief and you rip the stab and then you knock them around, and they'll have to do something like this. It'll be interesting to see how they counteract it. Let's see, I'd go Plague on Karina. I don't think Golem's going to do much for them. Like, it's better if they can have someone who can plague the point when the Lich is going ham. Yeah. What else? No, I think that's about it. Warbanner is a great choice. I think both comps are very interesting. This isn't a bad comp on either side, you know. It's weird, but this is what I love about this meta. It's that just about every single build you can think of, you know, in the higher end of level play is viable. You can take a Power Necro. You can take 2 Power Necros, absurd as it sounds, you know. Half a year ago, this would sound insane, but right now it's not undoable.
Yeah. And we've seen these guys play this comp, a similar version of this comp at least last week as well. And Crisis does really a fantastic job with ensuring the survival of a lot of his teammates. He does a really good job with the Mercy Runes, combining that with some people such as specifically Guardian will probably be helping out a lot with the reses. They really are able to keep themselves sustained really heavily.
They should really put the ready on something bunker though. With that, what? Okay, I didn't notice this. Yeah, this is too squishy. At this point, it's getting too squishy because now they can't stand on point any longer. And I think he listened because he just left. That's good.
We'll see. There's a lot of people.
Future tip, get delay. Future tip.
You have to remember. Oh, there is delay on the stream. There's a 60-second delay.
Right.
He also could have just been AFK for like 50 seconds, because that's apparently the timer that knocks you out of the server. That's probably the more likely scenario. Anyway, checking out the blue team comp before we get started, folks. Once again, we've got Olrun, or Commander Quaggan, over here running on an Elementalist. It's going to be usual Dagger LE00266 split. Physics is playing Rifle NG60044 with Celestial Amulet. Nothing too out of the ordinary there. I'm behind you, Law. I'm trying to see who this actually is. Edison running with a Dagger pistol build. Again, usual Dagger pistol build that we're seeing a lot of these runs, specifically here in North America. It is going to be the Critical Strikes build. Once again, why did he get kicked out? We've got Kizos over here as well, running with the 02660. He's going to be running on a Spirit Ranger build, actually, with Axe, Offhand Torch, and Sword, Offhand Dagger. Same thing with Celestial Amulet and Mercy Runes. He's going to be the Reser for this team. And then Karina on Necromancer, running a much more normal build. This is going to be Nas's build pretty much here. In fact, it's going to be exactly Nas's build. The Wrath of Corruption build with the trait split, as you can see here. And of course, running it with the Carrion Amulet and Nightmare Runes, with a lot of fears to keep him going in the team fights and prevent first-tier players from taking him down, which will be very good specifically for this matchup. And that'll wrap up the blue team, which means, guys, with the stuff out of the way now, we can get started immediately with this first matchup. Still going to be the same map rotation, still going to be the same best of 3 set. First team to 2 points will move on to the semifinals, and the loser will be eliminated from this week's tournament. But they will take home, I believe, they will be taking home 25 Go4 points, so something to take home too.
I'd like to say that if they went a Staff Ellie, which I think would be very good, Staff Ellie or Dagger, preferably Staff Ellie with this composition, they would have a much greater chance, I'd say. With that, I'd just tilt the advantage towards the blue comp. Like, they have a certain advantage, but, you know, they have to still outplay. With this, I think it's going to be a very easy game for blue to steamroll over it, because simply put, they have much more stability on the points. And I think we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes, but it'll be an uphill struggle for the red team, if we can say that. But it's not unwinnable. It'll just be very difficult.
Alright guys, so we're just now waiting for the teams to ready up here. As you can see, they are getting ready to go now. Just waiting on Google, or AK rather, along with Karina and Kizos. And as soon as everybody's good to go, we shall get started with this first matchup. Once again, we're going to play our little video to show you what's happening here on the Forest of Diffihall. And by the time we get back, we should be starting with the first game, guys. So we'll be right back as we show you once more what's going to be happening here on this map.
Welcome to the Forest of Niflhel. In this Conquest map, players will vie for control of 3 score-generating capture points. Additionally, on each side of the map, there are 2 bosses that grant 25 points and a bonus to all stats to the team that lands the killing strike. The first team to 500 points wins.
And once again, folks, we're heading back into the map now. The game has already started. Splits are starting to present themselves here as well. Blue team being a little bit defensive here, as you can see. Karina and I'm behind you, Law, kind of holding back here towards their home node. Red team at the same time, though, did not go for the cross. They played preservatively as well. And it looks like they're going to be pressuring over here towards the middle point in just a sec, where they already have their Ranger and one of their Power Necros here. Their Elementals with a lot of burst at his disposal too. Will be joining in just a second. Will actually catch on to Karina here, so those two might have a little bit of a 1v1 back on that. And beyond that, it looks like everyone else is on the way to this point. So we're going to be opening up with a big 5-on-5 team fight here.
Overpowered Necrois, very mispositioned. You would want to be on the high ground, and there's a Lich, never mind. Let's see how it goes. Let's go.
Going all in right now. Kizos falls into the downstate. Corrupt Boot does go into OPN, though. He no longer has that stability, but it doesn't even matter, as they do take Kizos out of play. You've got Karina sitting up here, too, and it looks like we are going to see red team claiming control of that. Blue team, though, they can take a look at them. Very quick to adjust. Already moved completely off that point and have scored a decap back over there at the mine, too, with Physics being the one that claimed the actual capture point. Crisis is moving over there very fast, and we also have that kind of off-point skirmish going on right over here, too, as you've got 3 guys from the blue team fighting off against a couple members. Whoa, my goodness, as we see AK there, too, just absolutely destroying Edison, taking him out of play with that nice retaliation coming out just as we saw out behind you, kind of jumping onto him there, too.
This was very proper rotation from Karina. I'm sure there was some confusion about someone decapping Henge, because they went back all the way towards Henge and then moved towards mid with the Ranger. What would have been better is if we instantly initiated a middle and pressured it, and the Ranger could later join in. Because now it's going to be very difficult for them. If red team just won mine, correct? So they're going to be able to... well, they won the outskirts of mine, so now they're going to be able to snowball onto mid and then make that into a safe 2-cap, provided that they play this correctly. And Lich won't really save them. Of course, this only matters if they get that rest, which they did. So right now the position is in red team advantage.
And red team is going to claim control back over there, the mine point, as we did see the Lich getting popped out in the 1v1 versus Olrun. He'll claim that point. Back over on the middle point itself, you can see we got a pretty even team fight going at the moment here. 3 players from the blue team going up against, I believe, 3 players from the red team here as well. Just joining the fight now is going to be AK, adding a lot more burst into play here, which could be trouble for the blue team, but AK is actually going to wrap himself back around, so we'll go and head over towards the overview point, as we just saw overpowered Necro falling into the downstate. Karina coming in with that Plague Stomp to guarantee a kill. Once again, one of the members of the red team really going to cause their composition to fall apart very quickly here, and it's looking like with these players getting knocked out, unless we see Crisis getting the Guardian back up, there's a lot of pressure on the corpse, but you got to keep in mind those Mercy runes will allow them to get the Guardian back up anyway, still keeping themselves alive, but obviously with OPN getting knocked out, that is going to be a lot of pressure alleviated. At the same time, you can see over there too that AK is actually going to be leaving this fight, heading over towards the Henge to try and score a decap there, as we just saw a few moments ago, the blue team Thief coming in there. He's still a free decap on the mine, is going to be taking that for free. Not sure if he's going to stick around to fight the Necro, but it looks like he is. We're going to have a 1v1 control, or 1v1 for control the mine point, as the fight on mid continues on and actually comes to a close here over the next few seconds, as it looks like Olrun and Kizos are going to be taking control at this point.
Yeah, it looks like they lingered around the mid a little too long, so they got a free cap on it. But still, the initiative is in the control of the blue team, and this is so important for them. It's more important than actually having the caps, because red team doesn't have very much mobility, nor do they have bunker power. This means if they have to filter in the way that they're doing right now, it's going to be extremely difficult for them. Look, this Ellie isn't going to be able to do much. He's expended all his important cooldowns right now, and there's literally nothing else. If he goes on point, he will instantly go down. So he has to disengage now, and if red goes in, they're going in a fight without cooldowns.
We do see that the other members of the red team are going to join this now. Joining it a bit too late, however, as AK has fallen into the downstate. Rawlface might be able to come over and save his life. We do have the Warrior. Remember, he's the res power. He's trying to come over here, try to get that Manu res off onto AK here. Olrun as well as Physics are going to try to stop them from happening, but unfortunately, again, really, there's just the 2 of them there. They are not going to have much power to work against the power of the Mercy runes there. So AK will get himself back up. Nice burst going over there onto Olrun, almost managing to take him out, but with that nice RTL, he manages to get himself out of harm's way. AK is going to try to chase, but it looks like it's not going to be too successful, and then we will see red team clean control at this point. Overall, though, blue team still has better control of the map, and this is the important thing here, as they are still rocketing ahead.
So what happened here is they could have actually controlled that 3 cap, but the Ranger stood on mid. They didn't get a proper count on the players. So, but you know, if you don't exactly know where the enemies are, you should still just safely go for a 2 cap. You abandon one of the points and you go to the other side of the map, and that's exactly what they did. So that's fine, you know. Like sometimes you don't get all of the calls. But what would have been the ideal play is, of course, leaving mid open and then just surging towards Henge point.
And we are seeing here right now, too, blue team doing a really fantastic job with their rotations. They're kind of making up. They're not really doing too well in the fights, I do have to say. They're doing a nice job of holding out, but I think in most of the fights here, I think we're seeing Radioactive come out on top. Just kind of too much burst for them to handle here over an extended period of time. But, I mean, even so, even when they are losing those fights, I really do have to attest, because red team has to focus so much of their burst at a singular point, Olrun and Kizos has been doing a fantastic job of making up for that constantly by rotating towards the other point that they are losing. And I think that's really what's contributed to allow them to have the lead at this point. It's really fantastic rotationary ability from this blue team at the moment.
So we saw Lich, so fight 1.
Pretty much, as we did see Kizos and now Physics both getting knocked on here too. We do have OPN in the downstate, which if they take him out, that could be good, but it looks like the red team has a pretty good kind of grasp on this fight. We've also got Edison kind of sitting down here. He's just going to dive into the AoE, which is only going to kill him that much faster, which kind of is a good thing considering they're going to lose this fight anyway, so it's only really going to be a faster respawn timer for him. Kizos goes down there too, and it looks like once again here, red team's going to control, but this is now the kind of hard situation for the red team, as they need to rotate very quickly back over here towards the far node. You've only got, I believe, it's going to be Rawlface hanging out over here, and you've got plenty of respawns on the way over for the blue team. Thief just spawned, Kizos will be coming up in a second, and I'm more than confident they're all going to kind of come all in over here on the Rawlface. The Warrior's on his way over, so it looks like they managed to get themselves onto this point just in time, but even with the Warrior, though, they might need a little bit more if they want to keep this fight going in their favor and hold on to this 2 cap.
I sense that there's a lot of confusion now for the blue team. They didn't quite know what they wanted to do. They rotated their Elementalists in, and their Necromancer pushed towards Henge, wanting to perhaps go for the 1v1 there, but then he just changed his mind and went back towards mid. So effectively, they just made their fight 3v4 for a little moment. And that's why also mine became very iffy for them. And then Lich happened and they got smacked.
Now, they did manage to take down Rawlface just a couple seconds ago back over here at the Henge Crisis'. Banner attempt unfortunately got interrupted, and by the time it was back up, it was really out of range of what the banner could have rezzed him up with the poison on the corpse, which means we will see this point falling back into control of the blue team just a few seconds here as they're going to take Crisis out. Back in mid, however, as we take a look at that, red team is making progress. The important thing to note, though, is the fact that the Thief... We do have this...
No Spirit Cast. So, I'm dead.
Well, what I was going to say is the fact that Red Team doesn't really have any support here. The only support that they've really got on their team is the Warrior, and the Warrior is dead right now. And you've also got 2 players about to reinforce from Henge. So Blue Team, these reinforcements could really kind of turn this fight back around. Red Team's really got to push hard right now if they want to take this point, because they do have to outlast enough time here for Crisis to actually get onto this
There
point.
really is no way for them to outlast with their composition. So they have to win the fight or they have to abandon it. So at this point, it's really just a waiting game until the next Lich is up. Let's see here, Raw faces Lich. Okay, so when that fight happens, they're gonna win that fight.
It looks like
I'm not quite sure what's happening right now though. He's pushing towards Henge solo. This could be improper because the engineer should be able to catch up, and he will get +1 likely by the thief.
I think they've kind of realized, though, that they weren't going to win middle. It was going to take them too long to get towards middle, and that's why he decided to go far, which I think I kind of agree timing-wise here. By the time he got there, which, I mean, equationally, probably would have taken him about the same amount of time to get towards middle. Unfortunately, it was going to take, by the time he would have got there, it would have been a lost fight, and he really just would have been contributing to the corpse tile.
Definitely. Going towards middle would have been equally bad. What they should have probably done, the best play would probably have been to go boss. Provided that Blue is playing correct here, because Blue should make it to Henge before. But it seems like they're hesitating as well. But theoretically, what can happen here is just that Blue will surge before Red gets to go there, and since Red is as squishy as they won't be able to successfully bunker. But the rotations aren't quite quick enough. This is very important for Blue. They can just play off a safe 2-cap and win off the initiative that they have, but they kind of concede it every now and then. Now there's going to be the Lich, and Red has actually managed to somehow secure the initiative again. So that very risky split push to far wound up working for them.
We actually saw
Lich kill.
We saw over here too. Really good job by AK kind of supporting Rawface there too. As we did see the thief, Edison came in there and managed to get the steal off onto Rawface, taking away his stab. Had Blue Team have had enough pressure onto that point, they could have easily taken out the Lich at that point. But unfortunately, due to AK coming in there with some really nice burst onto Edison and some of the other members of the Blue Team, such as Physics here on the off point too, really managed to just stop any of that pressure off the bat and allowed that Lich to fully take down Karina. And now, as you're going to see, allow Red Team to take that point and take this boss for 2, give them that 50-point stat boost and the extra 25 points, which is going to allow them to take the lead and start rocketing towards victory now.
I'm very confused.
This is the turning point now. Radioactive is doing a really nice job of holding this 2-cap. Blue Team, I think, kind of is playing too. I think their splits are a little bit too linear, if I do say so myself. Like they're a little bit too predictable. They do need to kind of change up the game, which they're going to do right now by extending over towards the mine point. But even so, they were kind of halfway to going for a push on the Henge point while they were doing that. So this is going to be a fairly predictable push coming in from the Blue Team as well. And Red Team, I think, is going to split push this now too. They are going to send a couple guys to defend the mine point and a couple of their burstier players back towards mid too. What do you think of this kind of decision here?
This rotation is much better for Blue Team. As long as they pull their thief now back towards mine, they're in a borderline winning position because they have a Necromancer just standing on the close point. Rawface is just standing on Henge. This means that effectively right now there's one more player on the map for Blue Team. So pushing into far right here, which the thief is doing, is incorrect, you know, because now the Necromancer, which is doing nothing, is going to be a useful close point defender because he's taking out a player on his own. What would have been better would have been to just push into mine, all 5, and then send a player back to mid while you're winning it, because the Necromancer wouldn't have made it to mid in time. So this 1v1 is actually what's deciding the entire game. The 2 fights that are happening here, the 1v1 and the 4v4. And yeah, he just pulled out. The
4v4 looking like it's going into the favor of the Radioactive here at the moment. We did have a bit of a tough moment there where one of the guys from Radioactive went down, but Crisis managed to pull that banner and got it unrestrictedly, so he got his teammate back up. Right after that, we saw Karina going down to take him out of play, and with that in mind, as you can see now, it's only going to leave Olrun and Kizos here up in play for the guys on Olrun and Kizos. Means they're not going to take this point, and as you can see from the score, it does mean, guys, that Radioactive, with a very bursty and very risky comp, is going to claim round 1 in their favor, putting them up 1-0 in the set, and only 1 victory away from moving on towards the semifinals.
The victory is not impossible at all. Blue Team had many chances in this game to take the initiative and win the game. In fact, they had the lead at many points. The problem was just that they kept letting it slip. They had 2 players roaming around the map, not quite sure where to go. This is, of course, something that's always possible in a tournament game. Even the best, this will happen to even the best of people. And Legacy, Forest is notorious for being this kind of map, you know. It's so hard to have information on this map. You really have to be completely on point in terms of calling. You know, you have to see people past walls and all that stuff. Now, on Legacy of the Foefire, it's far easier to scout because the map is just open. Like, if you have the control of the midpoint, for example, you have control of everything. So, the game can look very different in Game 2.
The other thing to note too is on Legacy, the mid fight won't be, I would say, as chaotic for the blue team because obviously you had that Lich in play there, which is in a very
on the high ground
area.
And all that.
Yeah. On Legacy, there's a much more open field. It's a lot harder for the Lich to kind of enclose onto a target there and lock them down. So I think in the mid fight, blue team will have a much better time holding out there too, which should be a pretty big boost to those guys. So predictions for map 2, I would say probably going to go into the favor of Olrun and Kizos. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, in the end, I think that their comp is far superior, and in fact, there is nothing wrong with their mechanics per se. They did win many fights. It's simply a problem of communication and rotation. They're not quite sure where to go, such as in the end, where the Thief just pushed far. They probably didn't call it there were 4 on the close point, so the Thief just went far because he thought it was a free cap or something like that. You know, anything can happen like that. Might not have been necessarily that, but still, the information isn't correct, so the calls are incorrect, but as long as they're keeping the mood up now, they can't be too mad at each other over the mystery, because they probably feel like they should have won. Everyone always feels like they should have won. As long as they stay cool, they realize what they did wrong, which was almost all entirely in rotation. They realize that they have an edge in composition, so they can win, right?
Yeah.
They just have to they have to stop rotating incorrectly, and that'll be good. I need more puns, Blue. I feel like I need more puns.
See, now I like the analytical take. Like, I like what we're doing right now. This is good.
No.
This
isn't working for me. This isn't working for me, bro.
You're an entertainer.
I came for puns. I came for puns.
I don't have any puns for this scenario. There's nothing relevant. Unless you can think of something to do with radioactiveness or something to do with a happy hour.
I got this. All right, listen. The communication via radio needs to be more interactive.
No.
Yeah. That works.
Wait, what?
Shush,
that doesn't even make sense.
Shush, it works.
No, it
works,
doesn't.
Blue.
Did you say
It
interactive?
Reactive, yeah.
That still doesn't make sense.
Blue.
It would just be active.
Sir, Blue, stop cry. It's hissing.
Alright, guys.
Just go ahead and equip that raw face of yours. You need to act like a commander, Quaggan. I mean, I'm behind you on this. Like, I believe in you. And so does the world's physics.
Stop.
We're in here!
God damn it.
Oh no! I dropped my nuts. Alright, well, alright, we're back in here.
Alright guys, once again, we've loaded into our second map here on Legacy. Very quickly, we're going to play our preview video once again, going over the mechanics of this second map, and as soon as our teams are ready to... We've already given them the signal to do so, but as soon as our guys are ready to play, we shall get started with our second round, guys. Be right back in just a second.
A throwback to Guild vs. Guild from the original Guild Wars, the legacy of the Foefire has teams vying for control of 3 score-generating capture points. Locked away within each team's keep resides the Guild Lord. Killing the enemy team's Guild Lord will grant your team 150 points, potentially swaying the outcome of the match. The first team to 500 points wins.
And welcome back onto the map once again here, guys. We are on Legacy of the Foefire now. We're about to get started with our second round between Radioactive and Olrun and Kizos. This is the round of 8, or the quarterfinal here at the ESL Weekly Go4 Cup with a $500 cash prize pool. Number 2, of course. And as you can see on the scoreboards, Radioactive does currently have the game advantage. If they manage to take this one, they will move onwards towards the semifinals. As for Olrun and Kizos, they've got to take this victory or they will be eliminated from the tournament right here, right now. But of course, they will take home 25 Go4 points, which can be used to qualify for the monthly final coming up in just a few weeks. Any thoughts, Elsa?
I'm sorry, I'm just enjoying the reactions to all the puns.
Your eyes are on the Twitch chat?
Yeah, of course.
They don't seem to like it very much.
They love it. They just don't realize it.
It's like 50-50 right now.
Alright, so...
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm tilting the advantage to blue team right here. We'll have to see how it goes. Take a look and see if there's been any changes. No, none whatsoever. So let's just see. It's very interesting that their only real saving graces in terms of support and resting is a single banner from the warrior. That can be interrupted.
Oh yeah, and they did that quite a few times too. Like that decided the side fight over at Henge quite a few times in that last matchup was the interruption going off onto those. So yeah, that's a big thing. Anyway, to take a look here at the splits, of course, we are going to see a 1-2-2 split coming out from Olrun and Kizos. As for the red side, they're going to do a 3-2 split, focusing a little bit more heavily on mid. You will note this crossover from Sir Crisis to try and intercept the Necro and Thief. Not sure if I actually see them, though, as they are going to pop out of stealth right now. This is going to be a typical time, or this is going to be a difficult time now for Rawface. He's really going to have to hold off against a lot of bursts, both Karina putting the Connies onto him, as well as Edison putting a lot of DPS on him. But we see a Lich coming out over there from Overpowered Necro. Keep in mind that the steal has already been used on the side of the Thief there, so he's got to wait a couple more seconds before he can actually stop the pressure from coming off from the Necromancer there. But at the same time, we'll see enough pressure going off to take Rawface into the downstate. But at the same time, those Mercy Runes really doing their work there. That'll get Rawface back up.
This Lich is not worth it. This is definitely not worth it.
I think that was more of an emergency Lich than anything you need to do.
Yeah, but this trade, you know, it's 3 players. Both the Power Necros adventures has been diverted, and there was a full Lich. And all they got was 1 down for it. Meanwhile, they're gonna wipe on mid. In 30 seconds, they're gonna lose mid now.
They've got Crisis here, though, so I don't know yet. I would say they can still hold on.
They're gonna wipe. 30 seconds.
They've got another Lich, though. That's the thing to keep in mind. They've got another Lich, and they can... I don't know, man. Well, we have to... I think I disagree with you on that. We'll see. You can count it. I got a cast. Anyway. Here we go, guys. Checking out what's going on over here in the middle fight. They are trying to lock down Kizos. Kizos playing very conservatively, however, hanging out in the back over there. Crisis going to pull back here, too, as just in general here, both teams are really waiting for someone to screw up and waiting for someone to overextend. On the red side right now, that would probably be the main target, at least, would probably end up being Kizos or Edison. They managed to clinch out a downstate kill there over on the Edison to take him out of play. And you can see over there, Crisis, too. Crisis knew Kizos was going to go for that ultimate channel and managed to interrupt it, getting that kill off onto him, taking down Edison there, too. We will see the Guardian falling down, but there's not enough pressure for the blue team in order to take him out, so Crisis will score an easy res. As for AK, however, that may not necessarily be the case, but at the same time, they're about to put a triple res onto him, so that'll get AK back up here once again, bringing him back up, and then I think Helseth, I was right.
This is exactly what I was saying. You see, blue team is wiping here. This is exactly what I called. On point as always.
Anyway, physics. You made me question myself there for a second. You're really twisting my my sense of reality. I'm a bit scared.
So what do you need to do now as blue team? Well, you can't allow yourself to get too overwhelmed. The Thief is likely not going to be able to score a decap, because right now red team is only going to focus on the 2 cap. They're going to keep killing mid, and wait, how did they go down? Oh, they got caught there. Oh, that's huge.
Crisis.
If they can get this stomp on the Necro, they can actually go back in the mid fight.
Crisis is really trying hard to get OPN. Remember, he's got those Mercy Runes, so the res is going to come off 30% faster. We do also see a Healing Spirit coming out from the blue team, meaning they have a little bit more sustain. Nice Fear also goes off on a Crisis to stop the res pressure for the time being. They are really trying to get OPN back up, but I think Crisis is...
defensive Lich too. But this isn't working out right.
Yeah, no. Crisis finally realizing a bit too late, however, that res is not going to happen. Went a bit too crazy on that one, so Crisis is now going to fall down here too. The Guardian was in there for a second trying to get that res off, but that's not going to happen. Look at Karina. They just got a lockdown on Karina to take him down. We almost saw that Vengeance coming off there from Sir Crisis, but just barely missed the cooldown tick. So we are going to see Karina getting back up. We have Karina down for a second time now, however, Rawface keeping an excellent amount of pressure on him. You've also got Kizos on this over here on the side too. He's a bit low, so we really can't come in and get the Mercy Rune res off. That's another thing to remember too, is Kizos is the one who needs to res for the blue team, as he's running with the Mercy Runes, but again, they've been doing a fantastic job of making sure he stays locked down, that he really has not been able to do that. However, at the same time over here, the Guardian is going to get stomped out. Nice kill being stolen there by Commander Quaggan to take him down. Rawface will also fall into the downstate now too, and it looks like blue team, at least for the time being, will now have control over this middle point, but I still think it's a pretty long time coming before we see anyone have full control over this point just yet, as red team and blue team both are making sure that they keep a heavy focus on keeping this fight alive and keeping this point decapped. Back over on the Quarry 2, we just saw OPN taking full control of the Quarry node. As you're going to see, though, he is going to be forced to... Ooh, this is going to be a bad Lich play, too. As we got Edison, he got the steal off.
Unless he managed to get a magical 1v2 here, that's probably not going to
He even popped out of it early. Thankfully, he's got a high amount of DS, so he's going to be able to buy himself a decent amount of time for Rawface now to come in and add a little bit of burst stuff. But still, that's still a big wasted cooldown. Remember, that's a 3-minute cooldown that's now virtually been wasted, essentially, and unfortunately...
It actually turned out in his favor. The Lich gets your health up, and you're... I mean, they really need to start worrying about the Death Shroud 1 for the Necromancer. There's a lot of tricks you can play around it. For example, you constantly walk behind the Necro to cancel its attacks and such. They're not really making use of these, so the Necro is just going full-fledged. He gets to do whatever he wants. And a Power Necro, when a Power Necro does its 1, it does 50% of a Thief's health. Look at this. Look at the Thief's health. Like you can't allow him to do this to you. So the power necros, like right now, they can be countered far better than they actually were. They were doing a much better job of playing around the necros gameplay the first game. I'm not quite sure what's happening now.
It might be part of the open field here too. The necros have a lot more room to roam. They can see the attacks incoming a lot faster.
That's to the advantage though of the people that are supposed to play around them. Like because it's not. Oh my god. Oh, it hurts. Like these numbers.
We just saw AK getting full killed over there too. Unfortunately, Crisis not only is the banner to try and save him, but also was on the corpse for a pretty long time. I think Crisis is going to run low on cooldowns here pretty soon, which means he may get knocked out of play over the next few seconds here. Beyond that, however, you can take a look. This is still a pretty close fight, as you've also got Kizos about to fall down here too. Unfortunately, Crisis will not be able to stop, but he still has the hammer in play, bringing a lot of CC into this fight too, but in a very large attempt to stop Kizos from getting back up. It looks like blue team is not going to go for any direct res attempt on the corpse at the moment here, and Kizos, to be honest, might get knocked out, but it's really going to depend on what the blue team could try and do over this corpse. Crisis knows the location of the body, of course, and can see those attempts at res coming from a mile away. Nice burst coming off there once again from AK. Literally the second he joined that fight, managed to score a kill, as those very bursty elementalists always shall. So it looks like red team is, at least once again here for now, going to get control of this point. And I think they actually will full cap it here now too, as the only other person in the fight is Edison, and he's been thrown out. Go ahead.
Looking at the points, you might think that the blue team is doing well here, but this is
it's
looking
not,
brutal.
yeah. It's Radioactive is doing a really nice job with this fights here. They've been focusing arguably a little bit too hard, I would say, on the mid fight there, but I think at the end of the day,
they're finally going to get to consolidate their advantage. Moreover, they're also opening the gate. Now, Power Necro versus Lord it's a brutal matchup. It's like us versus any team out there. So it's basically Power Necro is going to win that in an instant. So right now, going for the Lord is going to be a very, very, very viable option for the red team. It might have been very risky though to have the Power Necro start attacking the door, because he's used all his energy and also half of his Death Shroud just to get to the point. So taking a fight here could be good. Let's see how blue chooses to take their fight. They have an Engineer and a Necromancer on mid. This is one of the most powerful 2 versus 2s in the game. You can already see that it's working them out. They have to rotate more players, because this 2v2 is ridiculous. It wins in like 99% of the matchups, and it's extremely hard to hold the point versus them. And never mind Lich.
Lich comes out, as we can see here too. They did manage to cleanse off this ability on Rawface, so Rawface is still in a bad position now. His physics, because that pull off a lot of condies going on Rawface. He gets forced out of that early, but not early enough to jump himself into Death Shroud, as we do see Edison coming in there with a nice amount of burst to take him into the downstate. Edison just going crazy with the cleave to guarantee the kill, and it's going to work as he takes him out there. And once again, blue team is looking to take control of middle, as they are slowly but surely knocking out the red team from this point. Will take them quite a much longer amount of time though, so with that in mind, we'll move over towards the waterfall point and see what's happening there. Currently, it is a 2v2. OPN is taking the brunt of the damage here. Two very bursty members, I should mention, from the red team here, so they really have to rely on making sure they get these kills, which they thankfully will get right over here onto Commander Quaggan. He does get himself back up from the Nature Spirit res coming off there just as we see it getting killed. At the same time, however, this does leave Kizos, or this is still going to leave him a bit susceptible now, as they both are going to try to take him down. Beyond that, however, OPN is finally going to get taken out due to Kizos conning him down, and unfortunately, the attempt at an interrupt on that stomp is not going to happen, which means blue team in just a second will claim control of this waterfall point once again, and we will be seeing another 2-cap claimed by the guys on Olrun and Kizos.
I'm very confused. They're just trading caps, basically. Yeah. They're just trading fights and caps. Throughout these games, they're just giving up the fights. It's back and forth, to say the least.
As we head
back. Really, Mercy Runes, really? Wow. Wow,
dude, they are really good. They
just happened.
This is a thing in NA now. It's like, yeah, we want to run a burst comp, just have a Mercy Rune Bunker Warrior, and it works. This is a thing that kind of popped up a few weeks ago in NA, and we've seen it applied to quite a few teams now.
And they actually came back in the fight. Please show some mercy. What the? Oh, okay.
Stop. Anyway.
Right, we're back.
Anyway, back over here at the waterfall once again, guys. We take a look at what's happening. Crisis is under a little bit of pressure, specifically from Olrun and Kizos, but again, just a note, they managed to get AK back up into play, which is adding a lot of bursts into the favor of the red side. However, as we take a look, we are going to see the red team retreating from this fight, as we can see once again back over here.
Physics beat the OP Necro as well on Corey. So right now, blue is going to get finally they get to stabilize their advantage. They've been basically getting wiped and then running and capping around the entire game, but finally they're going to get to start getting a stable advantage. As long as they just +1 their Ranger right here versus the Elementalist, they're perfectly fine.
The other thing too,
this
move to move away from waterfall has really cornered the red team now too. Blue team not only has this 2-cap, but they've managed to put Radioactive into a position where they really cannot move away from middle at this point. They've got to focus on it or risk losing this to a 3-cap. And as you're going to see right now, this is a really good advantage spot for Olrun and Kizos to come back into this game. To be honest, this play right here, as we're seeing now, this might have just won them the game. As
30 seconds just passed, they're wiping on mid. Just saying.
That's your prediction. It's only like 10 minutes late, but I mean
30 seconds.
Once again, guys, we are going to see Olrun and Kizos probably taking a 3-cap here in just a second. They might not get mid. Rawface is doing a nice job of holding out here at the moment, and you've got red team reinforcements maybe on the way. Cancel that, as it actually looks like we're going to see Crisis moving in towards far point, so they're just going to hand the Graveyard over towards the blue team there. But beyond that, like I said, right now blue team has pretty much unrestricted control of all 3 points. Red team is going to have to engage in a skirmish regardless of whichever point they go to, which puts them in a very bad spot. Red team, as you can see now, is even going for the gate, which doesn't really make sense unless they're winning home, which they're not. So this is just a bit of a, I guess we can try to pump our score up, but beyond that, to be honest, like I said, I think that play on mid and as well on the side notes, that pretty much guaranteed game 2 for Olrun and Kizos.
Yeah, they should have secured those 350 points before they went for the gates, because they really got in a bad fight on Waterfall there, and with that they had to over-reinforce the Waterfall, and then Quarry got stuck in a bad 1v1 that they could not +1 due to the fact that they had to commit to Waterfall. But, I mean, this means we'll go to a 3rd set, and Kylo is a map where, again, the Lich is going to thrive. Power Neck is going to thrive, because the Wells are going to be able to be on the point, and it's going to be interesting to see the strategy contrasts there.
Yeah. What are your predictions heading into that 3rd and final game, Helsa?
I really can't tell. I think, again, the advantage about comp is for the blue team. This is undeniable, but red team doesn't quite know how to handle, rather, blue team doesn't seem to know quite how to handle red team's playstyle. Now, this isn't a way to talking down on them. This is a very unique playstyle. Nobody basically does this, so it takes a lot of practice. And the question is if they can adapt on the fly versus this.
Yeah.
It's a lot of micro changes and also more on point rotation, because the fights went a lot harder for them this time.
This is
I'd like to do. Yeah.
This is probably one of the more, I would think, harder comps to react to, too, just because of the kind of shock and awe that the red team has here with the double Lich coming into play and the crazy amount of burst that AK can also kind of just suddenly throw onto someone. It's a lot of reaction that has to happen in the fight itself, because it's a lot of panic that can be created by the red team here. Say if the Lich comes out, that forces the blue team to suddenly, they have to make a change to their playstyle to account for the Lich. If AK comes in, suddenly bursts on a target, they suddenly have to account for that. In a lot of the other North American matchups, you see a much slower team fight progressing where you slowly see someone getting burst down. And you can generally predict when someone's going to die, but with this much burst in play from the red side, it's really hard to do that. They just, all of a sudden, people just fall into the downstate because AK bursts them or a Lich takes them out in 2 hits, so you can't really predict those downstate, and blue team really has to do a very quick and jerk reaction to that sort of stuff, which for some teams, some teams really just aren't on that communication level, and it's really hard to adjust for that sort of thing, and I think that's one of the big things that the red team really has going for them at the moment.
Well, let's see how it goes. Trebuchet could be very difficult to deal with if the thief just decides to treb. Basically, if red team focuses on simply holding their close point and team fighting middle, or team fighting close and holding middle, I think the thief won't be able to go back and forth on mid that much. Provided, because it's very easy for the thief to be caught. I've noticed, like, he tries to go for the decap, and the combined burst of the Necromancer and the Ellie just one-shots him, you know? Like, even though he should theoretically be able to survive, it's not an easy task to do, and also the risk is ridiculously high for it. So, something that you can do is that he will treb instead, and when they come towards his treb, then he'll just go towards far and mid. And he just keeps repeating this process, so when the trebuchet is repaired, he goes for the repair kit and such, because he's much more mobile than the entire red team, you know? And they're going to be forced to kill the treb. So, with that, they can get a small advantage, a stable advantage, which I think they need. They need stable advantages. Physics, being able to 1v1 just about everyone on the team of red is also another stable advantage. He can push towards far consistently. Try to take the 1v1, just stall if it's a 2v1. Just, you know, stay in the outskirts of the point, engage when they go. They need to force the rotations. They can't just make them randomly. They need to make sure that it's all, because if the world is sane, they're winning, you know? Like, it's red team has to induce chaos for them to be able to win with their random burst and all that can happen. But in all logical scenarios, blue team is winning.
Yeah,
and that's what they need to play off.
Alright guys, well as you can hear in the background now, the game is getting started, so we're going to jump back into the camera. There's no preview video this time, unfortunately, but as you can see, the set is tied at 1-1, Radioactive versus Olrun and Kizos. This is the round of 8 match here in the ESL Go4 Cup for North America #2. Winner of this moves on to the semifinals. So let's take a look at the opening splits here. It's going to look like that we've got, specifically Edison and Karina are going to push over towards Farnard against the Guardian. They do have stealth, so they will get that surprise engagement off onto him. However, this might have been scouted. This is a generally a pretty typical push to come out on this opening matchup. Beyond that, blue team is putting a lot of focus on that middle point, and red team too, they're really looking to secure that home point, possibly a little bit too much here as they pulled back 2 guys just to have that +1 man advantage. They'll make very quick work of Karina. I think they're going to try to use this as a snowball play. When they take Karina down, this will eliminate some of the forces from middle, and with that in mind, they should be in a much better spot to fight on that middle point. I think that's kind of why they went for such an aggressive fallback, but I was with
It's just going to wipe mid, calling it. I'll call it.
I don't know.
It's been called.
Raw face is a bit low, but looks like I think you're. I wouldn't say white, but I think it would guarantee them the cap at the very least.
Yeah, same thing. Identical.
As we take a look at what's actually happening here, Kizos unfortunately going to be forced off the node there for the second time. Just in general, all of blue team going to get forced off the node, and as they do have quite a few ranged players here, specifically with like you've got Kizos and Karina here, they make pretty heavy use of the catwalks a lot of times. That are only
Rockface going down to physics, solos downing him and stomping him. Oh, he accidentally. Oh, that's unfortunate.
He
was going to do the elixir stomp. Yeah, and he accidentally. That would have been very unfortunate because that would have been him 1v3 stomping, and it would have been. Now he's just going to go down. Rip.
And as we see here too, 3 players on the side of Olrun and Kizos are going to get knocked off the map at the moment here. Commander Cog and Physics as well as Edison back over here at the windmill point. All 3 of those guys are going to get knocked off the map. Huge control advantage now for Radioactive. They pretty much have free movement throughout the entire map for these next 15 to 20 seconds here before we can actually see Olrun and Kizos getting back onto the map. And just in general here, this is really the catalyst for them taking a pretty large advantage at the start. Now we finally see the trebuchet being used, but it is being used by Radioactive, however, which I think is a bit interestingly.
This is overkill. This is brutal.
I don't really think they need the treb. That's the thing. I really think they might have just been doing that. I think they did do that because look, they only fired like 2. Well, actually, apologies, I mistook that. But oh no, we've got more blue team shots in here coming in from this side now. But I honestly think they only did that to try and knock out the catwalks, just because like that's a very annoying thing to try and fight on midpoint when you don't have access to these side catwalks.
Yeah, it's a good catting location for the Necromonsters. So we got Physics decapping Windmill right here, and overpowered Necro coming in for a 1 versus 2. He has a lot of depth shots, so he can actually go onto the point without insta-dying. However, he's going to be out of cooldowns, and he won't be able to do much. He's an easy target right now, and this is a chance for blue team to take advantage of this. They need to take this fight. They need to down the Necromonster, make sure they get that stomp. If that Mercy Res happens, the fight is effectively reset, and really, red team is showing no mercy with this Lich coming out now from overpowered Necro.
Overpowered Necro gets his Lich off, taking Karina into the downstate here, more than guaranteeing a kill for these guys. We do see Physics over there too. Physics and Commander Quag, and as we saw there too, we had to see Opian giving out of his Lich just a little bit early, still sitting at about 3.3k health, but I think he's got enough support. With Crisis leaving, it might put a question mark at the end of that one, but we're going to have to wait and see now, because I honestly don't think this is safe for the red team just as of yet. Opian has gone down, the Guardian really can't res him.
Oh my god, this is going to be stomped.
Physics will get that stomp off, and they're going to turn this fight around. I think the Warrior left that fight too early.
Yeah. He should have stayed here in the first place. They should have had the Necro rotate out, because they didn't need damage there. They would have been fine holding off that point. The Necro should have rotated to mid and won it. Now, this is so intriguing, you know? People are just going down the entire game. It's so much damage from both sides, and so much squishiness from one of the sides that they're forced to go down all the time and just be reliant on their resist, and then their counter pressure of it. It's
different.
Very different. Like my personal preference is just to down the enemy team, stomp them, not go down myself. But everybody has their own tactics.
Yep. So once again, guys, as we see that pretty big mistake there, specifically on the side of the red side here, is going to cost them deeply, as now we do see Olrun and Kizos taking full control of a 2 cap. Because we had to see the Warrior pulling out, I think that guaranteed them the cap over on the middle node. Beyond that, we just saw a really nice gank from Edison there, managing to take out AK there, stopping a lot of DPS from what could have been coming into play over here at the windmill point, and is now going to benefit the blue team even more so as they try to take out Guardian. The main bulk of fighting, however, was at least just happening back over here at the mansion, as we just saw blue team getting evicted off this point. Had to see a Lich use from Rawface, possibly a bit too overkill. Wasn't much in the fight though, so not 100% sure if that was really warranted or not. And beyond that, it looks like red team, to be honest, red team just going to go for lockdown now, as they not only are going to try to, well actually they did lose control of the windmill just a few seconds ago there, so they are going to just push in here for the second cap. But we'll have to see how well that works, as they are kind of going on a reverse push at the moment, but thankfully they do have that trebuchet pressure also coming in here, which will benefit them greatly in this middle fight. Taking a look beyond that, heading back over towards the Radioactive Trebuchet. We do have some blue team presence here. Edison specifically looking for that gank once again over onto AK. Just managed to pull it off a few seconds ago, but it's very much the game of the Thief. Has to wait. What's up?
Yeah, I'm looking at the Thief right now. This is not proper usage of the Thief, though. You should not use the Thief as a Treb assaulter. There's so many more important things he could be doing for his team. Being that he has... Wow, that cluster! That cluster, though! Wow. Wow. We saw that. That's on stream. You get...
We saw...
Wow. Wow. I mean, that Ellie must be going through a cluster of emotions right now about that down.
Oh, that MLG cluster bomb coming out from Edison, gonna get that kill up on the AK.
that was... Wow. And now he can actually +1. Going on the Ranger is not like, there's so many squishy targets that you should not go for the one target that's actually not squishy. But now that they've done it, the crate follow up, and they should be able to get this cap.
And as we will see,
because now the Warrior's coming, and he's performed miracles in the past. So let's see.
Does he have a banner? Is the
question? He got the stun! He got the stun! He got the banner!
Is he gonna get the banner?
Oh my god!
No interrupt on the banner, and he gets him back up. Crisis, the savior of skirmishes, is gonna get his teammate back up. He's got to keep a little bit more support going onto him though.
This Norn Warrior running around, just resting his allies the entire game. Like what is this? Blue.
This is Radioactive, man. This is Radioactive. This is that team. They're doing really good. All right.
Why is it a huge Norn?
Cause man, he's gonna warn his enemies.
He's resting again, isn't he?
Yep. That's the comp, man. It works really well. Like a lot of people see these guys and they're like, oh, they run some weird comp. It's not gonna work. But as you're seeing, it works pretty darn good when they actually manage to get a good team fight going and they manage to cause that like shock that I talked about earlier. They can really surprise some of their opponents. This is the team to look forward to. I really think in the coming weeks. These guys are assuming they stick together and really perfect themselves. I really think these guys are going to be doing well in the coming weeks.
I'm just watching this Warrior. I'm just watching him.
He's really the one that can dictate like if they stay alive in a team fight or not, or if they stay alive in a big fight.
I'm trying. Look, it's happening again. Look at the
tread pressure though.
I'm trying to figure out what his keybinds are. Like, does he have rest bound on like every single button on his keyboard?
Just rolls his hand on the keyboard whenever someone goes down.
No, that wasn't that slight. That was just like to imagine. I'm imagining this Norn player, you know. So like, whenever one of his allies goes down, he just punches his keyboard and starts resting. Anyway, you should probably go back to casting some useful stuff.
As we head back over here towards the windmill, we've got a 1v3 Necro play from OPN. Unfortunately, as we see Karina coming into play, we are going to see the Corrupt Boon coming off. That'll pretty much spell OPN's death. Does get a nice transfer into Estrad, though. Just barely, though, and he needs to get rid of these condies. I don't think he has enough DS health, so he will go down. But as we saw, Karina has gone down, and they've already used their Boon cleanses now, too. So Rawface might just be able to save this team fight and save OPN, but no! Too quick of a stop comes off there from the blue team, and that's going to just barely save Karina's life. She might go down for a second time, but OPN is now fully knocked out, eliminating a lot of bursts from play here. Physics also coming into play. Red team really struggling to hold on, but you got to take a look at Karina here too, as she's the next person to watch out for. Crisis currently going in for a stop, does not have stability, but regardless, no attempt at an interrupt will come out there from Karina. It's currently, as we take a look at the overall scope of the fight, 3v3 and even engagement at the moment. Edison is looking to take out Rawface here over the next few seconds. As Rawface gets low, he falls into the downstate. Crisis and Google both going for a res over onto Rawface. Nice knockback comes out from the Engineer's fourth ability there on Rifle, just knocking the res away, stopping it temporarily. Crisis is trying so hard to get his teammate back up, but it's not going to happen as they pull him off the corpse there. Crisis falls into the downstate now too. Commander Quaggan is going to take out Rawface, soon to be taking out Crisis here too. OPN is going to try to save his teammate. He does manage to take Commander Quaggan into the downstate now too, but it looks like Crisis is a bit too low. He's going to Vengeance for safety though, and that huge burst takes Quaggan out of play here, but at the same time, Edison is going to take down Google now. He's now in the downstate. Crisis is going to try to go for res. He does not have much time left, however, but he gets him back up. Crisis' vengeance is soon going to expire, however, he's going to be knocking himself out of play, but take a look at Physics now as he's low too. Thankfully has an Elixir S, and at the same time, you've got a 2v1 going on to OPN's corpse. Red team is piling in the corpses here, and it looks like at least for now, and no, cancel that. Physics will fall down here now too, as they try to take him out of play. Red team is fighting so hard, both sides are, but as we saw there too, Google makes another mistake. He falls into the downstate. The Nature Spirit is out in play. They are trying to go for a manual res from Kizos over onto Physics once again. It might not be working, but they still have the saving grace of that Nature Spirit there. Nice booby trap comes out there from Physics to force him away, but still too much DPS coming in from OPN. That's going to take out Physics, and to be honest now, as we see OPN getting that heal off, it is going to look like that Red team has successfully defended this node.
Great, and Crisis is actually coming in and resting another dot, another 1v2 on Mansion. The ally was in downstate. Warrior comes in, and now the point is fine again.
And GG has been called by Commander Quaggan, guys, so that's going to be the end of it. Radioactive with that fantastic team fight holdout near towards the end, and fantastic play not only in the first round, but in the third round here as well. They're going to claim victory in this set, a 2-1 victory to progress them onwards towards the semifinals and move them up to the next tier of this event.
Really have to give the proper respect to Crisis, who, the thing is, it took guts a lot of the time, you know, to go to a lot of fights, because a lot of the time when there's an ally downed, you know, you assume the fight is lost. You know, I'm not going to be able to go there and rest it in time. But he actually went for it, and it kept working out. These fights that seemingly were completely lost just turned around over and over. I don't know how many times he said. Was it 4 or 5 times? He actually completely switched how the game looked. That's what you expect to happen, like, once a game, you know? So, huge play from Crisis. Like, being able to press that F when an ally is down. Actually, I mean, obviously, there's more to it than that. I'm having fun with it. But he was actually doing a lot for the red team. It would not have worked without him. MVP. Also, also them clusters.
Alright, guys. So we are actually going to follow this team a little bit. Yeah.
Are you alright? Are you alright? Didn't seem like you breathed for like.
Yeah,
10
I'm
minutes.
fine.
You sure? Alright, cool.
I've been doing this for like a year and a half now, dude. That's normal for me.
Alright, cool. Cool. Just checking in case I had to call the ambulance.
Anyway, guys, we're going to move on to our next match here. We are going to follow Radioactive now, as I believe they'll be taking on the Abjured next. We're still waiting on a result from that upper game, but hopefully we should be getting it soon. Right now, it's the Abjured versus Boreal Esports. I believe the favorite to come out of that matchup is the Abjured, but we do have to wait and see. So stick with us here for a few moments as we're going to go to another break, and as soon as we get the results from that top match, and as soon as the resulting team is ready for that, we're going to be bringing you Radioactive versus the winner from the top portion of this half of the bracket, guys. Be right back in just a few minutes with our featured semifinal game of the day from the ESL Go4 Cup #2 for North America. Be right back, folks.